Hi everybody, welcome to Art at Home with the Creative Place this week. My name is Anna and this week we are going to be making something beautiful for our mothers for Mother's Day, because in a week, yes, it's going to be Mother's Day here. So we are going to make a beautiful kind of mounted artwork, a bouquet of flowers. But not just any ordinary flowers. Our flowers today are going to be inspired by Friedensreich Hundertwasser. It's a bit of a mouthful. He's an amazing artist, or was an amazing artist. He has work up around New Zealand. Some of you may have been to see his very, very famous toilets up north. Very beautiful artwork. So we're going to learn a little bit about him and create a beautiful bouquet of flowers for our mothers, which we are going to mount onto a piece of card at the end. So it's going to involve a little bit of cutting, a little bit of gluing, a lot of painting, and hopefully loads of fun. So before we get started, let's just make sure you have what you need in front of you for the first part. So for the first part, we are going to need some A4 pieces of paper. You'll need at least 2 pieces of paper for this. You're also going to need some felt pens. We're going to add most of the colour to our artwork today by using paint. So today I'm going to be using watercolor paint, but if you've got tempera paint or acrylic paint at home, that will be perfect for this activity as well. So I also have a couple of paintbrushes and some water to wash my brushes in when I need to. This is Hundertwasser's painting called Greentown. He worked as an artist, an architect, and in environmental protection. So we can see from this painting, he really loves lots of beautiful bright colours. He loves painting things about nature, and he also really likes using squiggles and circles, anything but straight lines. So we're going to take inspiration, especially from his round trees. So let's get your A4 white paper ready to go and your paint ready to go. Here are warm and cold colours. You will need to choose some warm colours to paint on one of your pieces of paper, and you will need to choose some cold colours to paint on your other piece of paper. These painted pieces of paper, we are going to cut our flowers out from. You are going to need a pencil, you're going to need some scissors, and you are going to need at least 3 sizes of circles. So just like in Hundertwasser's painting, the trees were quite circular, I kind of thought today that we could make our flowers quite circular, lots of colours, as well. So I've chosen 3 different sizes. I've got a big honey container here. I'm going to use the bottom circle over here to draw around. I've got a Marmite container, which I'm going to use to draw around as my middle size. So the honey Marmite will be my middle size. And then I've got a small one here, a sprinkles container, which I'm going to use as my small circle. So the next step we're going to do is you are going to try and fit as many of these on your page as you can. One of my big circles in this corner I've traced around my honey container, and I've got a big circle down in this corner traced around it again. So I've got 2 big ones. Now I'm going to do a few of my middle-sized ones, my Marmite, and I might do a few more than 2. I might do 4. So your job now is to fit your circles together in an interesting way, in a way that you think looks really interesting. So this is my big circle. It's a cool coloured big circle. I'm actually going to take one of my warm coloured circles and I'm going to make that the next size, and then maybe I could either keep going with the warm colour and do a warm coloured centre like that, or I could change it back to cool colours and make it like that in the middle. Make your flowers and place them on the table in front of you so that you're ready for the next step. You might like to use felt pens to add some details to your flowers. Once you've got your flowers all ready to go, we're going to be thinking of something that you could use to stick down the middle of them that's going to help attach it to your piece of paper or your piece of card at the end. So I've got, I'm going to show you how you could use a pipe cleaner. If you don't have any pipe cleaners, you might have some thin wire at home, and something like that would work really well. The other thing that you could use is some string. I've got my flower here that you can see. I've used my skewer to poke a hole through the middle. I've wiggled it around just a little bit to make sure my hole is quite big, as you can see. So first one I'm going to show you how to do is with a pipe cleaner. So you just kind of shove it through the hole you've made like that. You will need to think of some way that you will tie this end off. So I'm kind of going to twist mine around itself because I don't want it going back through that hole, to kind of make a circle like that. You can see that I've got this big long bit of pipe cleaner coming down underneath. When we get to mounting them onto your cardboard, you might choose to keep that length, and that could be the stem of your flower, or you might choose to chop it off because we are going to use this bendy bit under here to be able to stick it onto our card with. The other thing you might like to think about doing is pinching them together where that hole is, just a little bit. And then pinching them the other way. So one way and then the other. And then you end up with quite a beautiful little shaped flower that makes it look quite interesting. So I did the same as I did before. I used my skewer, I put a hole right through the middle of all 3 of my circles through my flower, and then I pushed my string through. So what I'm going to do with my pipe cleaner, I just twisted the end, but with my string what I'm going to do is tie just a little knot. If it's really long and ugly, I can trim the end off once I've tied it. It's now time to start thinking about the background. So I've got my piece of card is a leftover back of a pad of paper that I had. You can see it's looking a little bit rough, so I'm going to spruce it up with putting some paper over top. You might decide to do it plain white and have your flowers go on top like that. You might have some interesting coloured paper. I've got a piece here, so you might decide to put some coloured paper over the top and have that as a background for your beautiful bouquet of flowers. Or you might like to use your paint and paint something amazing. So it's really purely up to you what you would like to do. I painted my background and then I used glue to stick it onto my cardboard. So we won't glue them down yet. I'll show you in a minute how to glue them down properly. What you might like to have a little play with is arranging them in a way that you think looks really nice. So try a few different compositions, we call them, when you work out what is going where. You might like to make yours a little bit more like a garden and have them side by side like that, or you might have them pulling together like I'm trying to achieve here, like a little bouquet of flowers. You might choose to just stick it down. If you look with this one here, I'll just turn this around this way so it's a bit easier to see. You might just like to stick him down right underneath his stem. His stem's going to pop up a little bit, but that's okay. You might like to glue that down, or yeah, if you stuck a bit at the bottom you would notice a big bit of tape, so it might be a good idea to use some glue of some kind to glue it down, or else you could try and bend it in the right direction. Okay, so you might like to keep the stems like that, and that's okay, so then you can just use what you've got. If you think, oh man, I don't really like this brown string, or you know, my pipe cleaner or whatever it is you've got, what you might like to do is you might like to work out how big a piece of tape you need, like this. So, oops, I'm going to pop that around about there, so that when it sits not like that, you can't really see the tape, although hopefully you've got some clear stuff so it might look a bit nicer. And then you're just going to chop right underneath that. When my flowers were stuck on, I trimmed the stems and drew on new stems with felt pen. Thank you so much for joining me on this creative journey to create a beautiful bouquet of flowers. Yeah, I hope you've all really had a good time and enjoyed yourself. Please remember to like and follow The Creative Place on Facebook and Instagram. The links are there on my channel to those. And please, if you like this video, if you've enjoyed the task, please like and share this video as well, especially if there's someone you think who might really enjoy doing this task for their mum for Mother's Day as well. Hope you all have a wonderful week and a wonderful Mother's Day next week. See ya!